Hello everyone, I'm Venkatesh Sarivisetty. Welcome to this session where we will explore generative AI, its concepts, applications, and future directions. So before starting to this one, as you might aware, this topic is not about any DevOps or artificial intelligence, AI ops, machine learning. So those are the things and all. It's just about what is Gen AI. I will call it as a Gen AI throughout this video. So what is Gen AI and what are the concepts we have? What are the how you can use our applications into Gen AI and what are the future directions? Let's dive into how this exciting technology is shaping industries and what opportunities it offers for you. Let's jump into it. So you might be thinking now, like, can I start with AI now? And how can AI help me? And AI can feel overwhelming at first, but truth is, there has been a better time to begin. Today, AI tools are more accessible than ever, and you don't need to be a data scientist to start using them. So, with that, I just want to clear out what are the questions we have it for. Is Gen AI a threat or an opportunity? The truth is, it can be both, but it depends on how we use it. And again, we have a question. Can we leverage Gen AI to gain a competitive advantage? Absolutely. From automating tasks to creating personalized experiences, the possibilities are endless. How secure is my data with Gen AI? That's very important. Security and privacy are major concerns, and we will discuss how companies are addressing them through techniques like encryption and differential privacy. But there is a question, right? Why I'm here? Why? Because what is the video? What is the recording I'm seeing now in the Gen AI? How it is going to help me? Okay. Throughout this session, if I watch, what I'm going to gain from this one, right? So I will give you the clarity for that one also. So coming to the real world applications, so how Gen AI is a powerful tool. Like we have so many tools like a chatbots, content generators, and even the virtual assistants. So first of all, we'll think about how Gen AI is used in practical AI application, right? So we are hearing about Gen AI and so many chat GPT applications in market, right? How Gen AI is playing a role there, and how Gen AI model works, and what are the use cases for that one, and how the large language models (LLMs) work behind the scenes, and how companies are really getting succeeded with Gen AI applications. And end of the day, the potential legal and ethical considerations, what to be done before adapting to the AI culture. So these are the very critical points we are going to discuss in this session. So don't skip it. Please watch it till the end. So it's going to be very interesting. So the main agenda for this topic is like, first we are going to discuss about what is generative AI and why it is trending now. And the points why it's mentioned here is like LLMs and generative AIs. And I'll tell you about what are the LLM applications were used using created using a Gen AI, and how generative AI is getting adapted. Okay, how we are going to adapt to that AI. And finally, what are the risks and challenges we need to be adhere to that one to before using that AI to our applications. Okay, so those will call it as an ethical considerations and the legality issues also. So as I said, like, what is Gen AI? Okay, so Gen AI, if you see, it is a block which is under an umbrella of an artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So before starting to this Gen AI, I just want to explain about what is an artificial intelligence. So the artificial intelligence is it's like a multidisciplinary field of computer science that aims to create a systems capable of emulating and surpassing the human level intelligence. That means, as we are humans, how a mission or a system which is capable of thinking like us, like the mission is getting an intelligence to think like us and providing the response. Okay, that is what artificial intelligence is. Down the line, okay, in artificial intelligence, we have machine learning also. So machine learning is mainly, as I said, like we need to create some models, okay, and using that models, we need to predict the issues or any anomalies or anything happening in your application without being explicitly programmed. So it depends upon a model. Okay, that is about the machine learning. Coming to the deep learning, it is an integration part of an artificial intelligence, and at the same time, it is using a artificial neural networks which will learn from the data. Mostly, it is learning from the data. Okay, whatever the neural networkings we have, and we are using it for the hospitals or any advanced technologies we are using right now in nowadays. That is mostly using with the deep learnings. So now coming to Gen AI. So Gen AI, as I said, it's a subset of one of artificial intelligence, and it is mainly focused on generating new content such as images, audio, music, videos, 3D objects, and even the synthetic data. I'll tell you what is a synthetic data is. So it's mainly Gen AI is like to create a new content by taking the inputs from the user and provide you the respective output for your request, like an input output, and at the same time designing the images based upon your inputs and fixing your code issues and generating a code and maintain the code with the as you designed as you expected. So like that, Gen AI is going to play a role on top of this artificial intelligence umbrella. So next, but there is a question, why now I need to understand the Gen AI, because why Gen AI is booming today is like three factors mainly. So one is it's an advanced hardware because it is using a large data sets. That means it's using a very huge amount of data, which will trained on that data to provide you the respective models. Okay. So what is models? What is the data? I'll explain you. A model is nothing but a you have first of all before talking about the model, first to do this process and all, we need to have a data. Okay, how much amount of data you are taking it, and you need to train that, you need to take the data and load that into your model, and the model has to be trained. Okay, once the model is getting trained, it will get matured, and then it will provide you the actions whatever you are applying for that data or the model, it will provide you the respective response. So that's why the large data sets, if you have a large data set is nothing but you have a big data. That means your model will get trained and it will get matured very quickly, and it very the boundaries of that response is very huge. So that's why when you have a more amount of data, the response will be very clear and as expected. So AI model learns patterns, correlations, and characteristics from the large data sets. As I said, like it has to maintain some pre-trained state-of-art models. I will tell you what is a pre-training, what is a fine-tune modeling, so those things and all. And then the next one is like computational power. When you are using this much of data sets, large data sets, you need to have a more power. Without power, you cannot run this much of data sets. So that's why we need to advance our hardwares, GPUs, and sometimes we can go and use the cloud computing also. And for example, I given as the open source software, we have a Hugging Face. Hugging Face is a software, a model which we are using it here. It will train from the large data sets and it will provide you the response as expected. Okay. And innovative DL models like if you it's when you advance to this Gen AI concepts, we have so many architectures were there, and it is using a very human feedback also, like a sentiment analysis is there. It is taking an input from the user, and it will find out like what is the review of that user and how the user is responding to your request. So these things are very important in the generative AI. So next thing, so these are the use cases of the Gen AI. Before once you started using this Gen AI, these are the questions will come into your mind why we are using Gen AI, right? So the first one is content generation. As you know, there are so many content generated things were happening in market, and even when you type something in the chat GPT, you are getting the content generated automatically, question and answers, and even the virtual assistants also. Some people are creating the chat bots for the virtual assistants. Even when you open any IRCTC things or anything, it will open a chat bot for you. It's not only IRCTC, so many banking applications also started using this virtual assistants. And content personalization, language style transfer, and storytelling, poetry translation, and code generation also. Okay, when you are doing some coding, and if you have any blocks, if you don't understand how to proceed next, you can ask your Gen AI feature, and it will provide you the respective code generation for you. Even if sometimes it will auto complete your code and provide you the better code for you also. Okay, this is a very beautiful future coming under from the Gen AI. So in this generative AI, we have two types. One is large language models, as I said, LLMs. That is a very core, and foundational models. What is the difference between these two? And if you start up learning about generative AI, first you need to understand these two things, because generative AI is completely running on top of these two only. Okay, LLMs and foundational models. And these are the little examples I have provided here. But whatever the chat GPT, the next advancing tools which are coming in the market are foundational models only. Okay, at the end of the video, you will understand which one will call it as the foundation models and which one will call it as the large language models. So now you are thinking, what is LLMs and what are this and how you'll understand it, right? So let's jump into it. So this is how the large language models will work. So first of all, as I said, like it will take the input, which will tokenize that the data, and it will take that input and it will add the token to your input and put that into a like it will convert that into a values like zeros, ones into a values, and it will embed into a trained model. This is what I said the model is. So there is a pre-trained transfer model is there, or you can build your own models also. Okay, so once you develop that model, whatever the data we are sending, for example, if you see a book, so Dolly is a language model that can help you to generate text for a variety of text. Okay, these are the different types of inputs I am passing to the respective model. So what model will do, it will take that input and it will add a tokenized to that one, and it will encode the text into a numerical representation, and it will send that to the pre-trained transfer model. So if you see step by step, so the which is added in the books, it is going to search and it is converting into the numbers, and finally it is adding a token to that one. So it is converted the tokens and the total character values, and it is sending that to the model. Okay, so it will whatever the data we are taking it, the model will trained for the data. Okay, like that, whatever the encoded data we have it here, that will go to the model. It will have already trained with the billions of parameters. It's not like the one which we are sending is not the first one. So we have a billions of parameters were there in the model, so which is already trained and mature. And then based upon that input, the whatever the data it is collected in the numerical format, that will get decoded. Like for example, if you see in the right hand side, the 4.2, 1.2, those are the um, encoded format that will get decoded into that words again. So now it is predicting. Okay, So whatever the question I have raised, okay, for that one, it is converting that, it is decoding that into a human readable format in the English words. Okay, so that's the process of LLM training process. So a model, which is a pre-trained transfer model, is available, and what we are doing it, we are sending the data to that model, okay, and we are training that model. So to train it, it will fine tune it and it will train itself, and it will provide you the good response. So that's how the large language models are working. Encoding, decoding. In between, we have the pre-trained transform model. So even LLMs are nothing but the day-to-day search where we are doing the chat GPT and getting the information as an input output, or image generation, or code analysis, and even the creation of the code too. So these are the different examples, as I said, like LLM generate the outputs for the natural language processing task. So these are like content creation, as you know. Okay, we can give the text completion, creating a story generation. There are so many tools for so many content creation tools for in the market. Okay, Gen AI tools. Summarization, like we have a big document, how we can summarize the document or an article using this LLMs. And question and answering. And when you ask a question, and it will read into the billions of parameters, as I said, and it will extract the information from their pre-trained knowledge. And machine translation, like will capable of language structure as a grammatical rules, or if any mistakes were there, classification, okay, between the spam detection and the sentiment analysis, as I said, like the reviews of the user, how the user is behaving, how the users are responding to your product. So these are all coming under the sentiment analysis. Spam detection, named entity recognition, like from the person, where he is, what is the organization, which date he is coming, and what about that different types of text he used. So name entity recognition, and the tone also, like whether he is a human or a male or female or a kid. So like that, it will tone recognition also available. Finally, the code generation. So generating the code in the specified programming language and converting that code from one language to another language. So these are the common large language model task. Okay, considering the day-to-day side. So now I'm going to tell about what are the LLM applications we have it, and what are the things we need to consider before choosing your LLM applications. So as you know, there are open source models were there and proprietary models were there. One is the open source are like nowadays we have open sources and proprietary models. Both people are using it, and we have the first discuss about the OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Gemini for Google, and at the same time we have it for Copilot for Azure, and at the same time we have open source models like Meta AI, Databricks, Mistral. These are all the commercial purposes we are using it. So end of the day, um, there are the four things we need to consider. One is privacy. So which one is providing the good privacy for my data? Because end of the day, whatever the model we are using it, it should read your data, okay, your company data, and it will train and it will provide you the response as expected. So we need to choose a model which can provide you the better and best privacy model for me. And at the second point is the quality. So which one will provide you the quality output for me by training the data, and the cost. So which one will have the cost optimization and provide you the better results for me, whether it is a proprietary model or a open source model. And latency. There couldn't be any latency by reading the data. Like when the user is giving that input, it has to provide the response on spot without any latency. So these are the four criteria we need to consider before choosing the models, and at the same time, the respect to task we are getting, respect to response we are getting from that models. But my word is there is no perfect model. Why? Because until unless your model is trained with a huge amount of data, it won't provide you the a best response for you. Why? Because, for example, you build a model right now today. Okay, you need to train your model. You need to train from the day one today. Okay. So when you ask any question to that one, it will provide you the response from that day onwards, right? But if you take a model which was already built 3 years back, it will provide you even a fine better than your response. Okay. So the thing here is the model, whatever we are creating here, it has to be trained n number of times and much amount of data to provide you the better response for your request. So that's what I said. Like there is no perfect model right now. Once you have trained your model n number of times. So there are, as I said, like the models are getting trained. What is the how that models are getting trained? What are those different types of models? Okay, so the pre-training model is the foundation of the LLMs. Okay, it is the process of this. Like the model is trained on a vast amount of data set, such as books, articles, and websites. During this phase, it learns grammar, facts, reasoning, patterns, and more. Pre-training provides a general understanding of language, which can be further specialized through fine-tuning. That means it's a simple words I can say, like it's a just taking the data from the books and grammar facts or even from the websites, and it will take that into your foundation model, which will train. This is a pre-training model. It's not actually a model is getting trained. It's a pre-training, pre-testing or something like that. So it's a pre-training model. Initially train your model with a large corpus of training data to develop that foundation model. So next one is we have fine-tune models. Fine-tune models are like this is the process of adapting a pre-trained model for a specific task and apply for a small corpus of training data sets. For example, so if you see in the first step, what we did, we have a large corpus of training data. We took it and we trained the foundational model. Okay. And then once the foundation model is developed, taking the data and task with a specific training is completed, and we will apply that to our fine-tuned model. Okay. So the process of further training a pre-trained model on a specific task or data set to adapt it for a particular application or domain. That means a foundation model has to first train itself, and then we will apply that to our fine-tuned models. For example, if you see in my diagram, so what I am doing here, I am taking certain amount of scientific papers to and sending that to the foundation model for training. So once the training is completed, my domain specific, my domain is science. So for the domain specific model is ready. And at the same time, finance. I have given the finance documents to the foundation model. It trained itself and provide you the finance model. Like that for the legal also, like I send the legal documents, it trained itself and send the legal model for that. So what is happening here? So the pre-training is just to pre-train your foundational model, and fine-tune model is applying that pre-trained model to your respective models, whichever you are going to apply for actually. Okay, whether it is a legal or finance or science or technology or IT infrastructure or anywhere, we can apply that foundation models to your models. So now, by doing this fine-tune modeling, the result is very clear and precise for doing anything like Q&A or code analysis or even an AI augmented operations like VR or automated actions in etc. So coming to talk about this is the interesting topic here is like the retrieval augmented generation. Like even the virtual realities and automated cars, so many things for using this augmented generation right now. Retrieval, we call it as a RAG, retrieval augmented generation. So this is something enhancement of the LLM output with a external data source. Okay, it is taking that first I will explain you that initial solution. If you take the different data sources like 1 to 7, and we have a trained LLM in between. So we took the data source and we trained that and send that to a new data source. And then we have a fine-tuned model, and that is the model output for us. So the initial solution is we are retraining and fine-tuning the model when new data becomes available. So whenever the new data is coming to that one, we are training that one on the daily basis, or whenever the new data comes. So the issue here is like the time consuming, right? So and that the difficult to maintain the current state. So for that purpose, what we have generated in the Gen AI is like, for example, when you ask a question, okay, that will go for the search system, and it is maintaining a vector database where it will store your question, and it will search based upon that, and it will go to your trained LLM model, and it will store that one, and it will provide you the response back very quickly. So rather than storing the data, new data source, and sending that response on fly, so we are taking that RAG retrieval augmented generation. It will take the question whatever you answered, and it will search for the relevant sources and retrieve that respective response, and it will tag with your question and send that by trained LLM model. So with this, we'll keep the models up to date with the most current data. So as a whole, I'll explain you like the LLM will get trained with the n number of data, but how far we are providing that response very quickly, okay, without any time consumption, right? It's not like me or you, or there are so many people are trying to hit that LLM and trying to get that response, right? So how quickly we are getting that response is also a matter. So this is about the retrieval augmented generation. But always remember, when we have a big data, it doesn't mean like we have a good data. So always what we need to do, we need to segregate the data, we need to filter the data, and we need to take the respective and required data from that one, so that your model will get fine tuned and it will provide you the better response for you. So the choice of choosing the model and choice of training that model and retraining that model is very important. So keep it in mind. There is no uh, perfect model available until you trained your model multiple times. And there is no big data is not equal to good data. So finally, we are going to end this session, but I want to tell you a few more questions on this, like how you will adapt AI successfully. Okay, so the key steps we need to follow here is like, we need to establish a clear guidelines for each task to enhance accountability. Okay, and we need to learn AI fundamentals. So invest in courses and workshops, that's very important, and develop a strategy that will align AI goals with the business objectives. And foster innovations, build an internal team to experiment with AI projects, upskill employees, provide training to help your team work with AI tools, address ethics and compliance, ensure your AI practices follow laws and ethical standards. So finally, these are the AI adoption preparations we need to maintain to make your upskill on this AI effectively. Like till now, we are in the pit that we don't know like what is happening around the AI. By this video, you just understand what are LLMs are, what are the models, how the models are getting trained. Okay, whether it is really helpful for me. Okay, so many questions are answered with this one. So the other one is like how a roadmap I can prepare to get successful for this technology, right? So this is what the roadmap I just want to provide here. So there are different layers we have. First, we need to define the strategy. What is your generative AI strategy? Strategy is nothing but what is your plan? What is your problem? Okay. So based upon that one, we need to identify the strategy, and we need to engage business units on about the problem, and we can set up an ethical and legal policy. That is very important. As the end of the day, we are going to deal with the data. Okay. If you are touching the data, it's having a bunch amount of data. So we need to make a setup of ethical and legal policies, very critical. And we need to maintain a success criteria too for every training of that model. The second point is we need to come up with the concrete business use cases too, to identify the business objectives, and we need to research for use cases and prioritize high level use cases, the data availability and alignment with your use cases. And Design and architecture. As I said, like we need to choose the right AI model to integrate with the developed model into existing business systems. And once you have this model set up, architecture is set up, we need to provide the operations and monitoring for your automation. So align your operation model and gather the feedback from the team and continuous interactive improvements. So refine your roles and responsibilities, and trainings and supports are very important, as nowadays people are still trying to people doesn't know like whether AI is going to really help us, or do we have any setbacks, or do you want to train, or do you want to learn any new topics on this one. The starting point is generative AI. If you start learning what is generative AI, you will understand what is LLMs, what is models, and how you are training the models, what are the uh, things were available in the market right now to use this Gen AI. So as I said, like after this one, I want to tell you there are so many tools are available right now. Maybe you know about ChatGPT, you might aware of Gemini AI, you have Meta AI. So all these things are collecting the data from you. Like for example, when I ask like um, I want to write a topic about uh, a boy is going to school and is citing something, etc., etc. I'm typing that one. And immediately it is giving some data to me. How it is giving that one? Because it is a model which is trained by the different amount of data, a bunch amount of data, and saving that data in the model. So when I ask this question, that is encoded with with the numeric values, and then it will get decoded with the respective value whatever I am expecting for. Okay. So if you feel like I got the respective response as I asked, means the model is well trained. If you are missing some pieces or getting some, it's not, I mean, the user satisfaction is also very important from the model. If your feedback is not good, the model is not trained as much. So keep it in your mind whenever you are trying to do something from the chat GPT or Meta AI or any GPT models. So make sure how far you are getting the response from your request, I mean, input. If you're getting 99% as expected, yes, the model is trained well and using a advanced GPUs, graphical process units, so that it will provide you the request or response very quickly. Okay, so this is all about I just want to cover on this one. So I hope you understand like what is generative AI and how it is going to be used in your organization. And finally, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll provide you this type of videos in my channel in future. Thank you. Keep supporting. Bye bye.